Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Saturday, August 30th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Texas game is today. The game against Michigan in 91 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at GratefulGriddleOH.com. All right, the day we have been counting down to since we left the field in Atlanta at the national championship game. That day is finally here. Ohio State and Texas, number 1 versus number 2. Also going to be the final broadcast on College Gameday for legendary headgear aficionado Lee Corso. On today's show, you're going to get to hear from Kirk Herbstreit and Rece Davis. Got a chance to talk to both of those guys about Lee Corso's final game, what he's meant to the sport of college football, as well as this incredible matchup between the Buckeyes and the Longhorns. So you're just going to get to hear both of those guys. I'm going to guess if you're listening on a podcast and not watching on video, you'll know who's who. You're going to recognize these voices. They are some of the most iconic in all of college football. Just going to let you hear a little bit of their thoughts on Corso, what he's meant to the sport, what he's meant to them in general, some of their favorite stories, and then a breakdown on the game. They have some interesting thoughts. I think you're definitely going to want to listen to some of Rece Davis's thoughts. Going to be some stuff that maybe Ohio State fans won't necessarily agree with. Definitely something that going to make this game on Saturday a very, very interesting one.
I think Lee is at peace with, this point. 90 years old. At some point he had to step away, and I think he's very appreciative from what he communicates to me. I was with dinner with him last night. I think he's just very appreciative of the show that ESPN put on, the way he's being handled, the gratitude the company is showing towards him. So I think he's at peace, and I think the fact he's at peace makes all of us, even though it's hard to see him go, I think it makes all of us be a little bit, I guess it's a little bit easier to accept it because he's in a good spot.
Does it just make sense to have his last show here?
I mean, it worked out great. What are the odds, right? I mean, we were right over there when he put the headgear on, and I just thought it was just a one-time thing. Oh, that was cute. And I didn't realize it would become kind of a fabric of the sport over the last 30 years. But now here we are. When we looked at the schedule, the obvious place would try to go to Tallahassee where he played. But this game is just so big. The fact it's a noon game, it became a no-brainer to have it here. But it's very kind of storybook. The fact that we started with this and we ended here in Columbus.
He has meant so much to the show. His fingerprints are going to be on this show forever. And he was a cornerstone in the building block. I think fans have always loved college football for 150 years. But I believe that no one is more responsible for the popularity of it being a day-long, into the wee hours of the morning television event than Lee Corso. He made it fun. He was irreverent. He used humor. He could have strong takes and not be afraid of anything. And it's really cool to be able to be here. It's sad, but it's also a celebration. It's mostly a celebration of a career that is really unlike many you see in television. Almost everyone, no matter what they accomplish in our industry, sort of gets dragged out boots first, and they don't really get a chance to say farewell. They don't get a chance to say thank you. It's just one day they're not on anymore. And so I think it's really special that we are able to talk with Lee about what he's meant, to celebrate with him, to laugh with him, to walk down memory lane, and to talk ball with him one more time. So I mean, I think it's a really special weekend. And I also want to say, and I don't know how much of this you guys will run, our gratitude to Ohio State and the administration and the athletic department, Ryan, and the whole football program, for the way they have adapted a really important day for them to let us and let LC be part of that is really cool. And the headgear pick is going to be unlike any. It'll be number 431, and it'll be one of one. It'll be different from any other one you've ever seen. I don't know who he's picking, but I know the actual structure of it will be different than anything we've ever done.
On a national level, I think it's the most passionate fan bases of any sport, including the NFL. I think college football is almost like European soccer. And when you throw Lee Corso into that with his, going back early in his days, his brash opinions and you know, he was Pat McAfee before there was a Pat McAfee. Like, he was the guy that was a lightning rod, and I think people, you know, just love him. He's like a relative. He's like your grandfather for everybody, for everybody across the country. So people love the guy, and I think that's their way of sharing that. And they're used to Saturday morning waking up and turning it on and seeing him. And I think that's why they're conveying, you know, how they feel, just letting him know. And he hears it, which is great. You know, I told him, we did the special, and if you guys saw it, and at the end it was in a whole theater, and it ended, and he was sitting at the bottom. There's only 3 people in the theater, and I went down, and I just hugged him, and he's always very candid, and he pulled away, and he's like, yeah, it was so eerie. I felt like I was dead, and people were saying things about me, and I was like, but here's what's cool, you're alive, and you got to hear those great things that these people were saying about you. So, you know, it's just, like you said, it's a gamut of different emotions. I'm trying to stay in like the celebratory lane this whole weekend, because it's, you know, we don't want to be emotional and be sad when it's his last show. We can be sad maybe next week when we're in Norman, Oklahoma, and, you know, it's like, where's Lee? But for this weekend, we need to be celebrating him and everything that he's meant to us and to the sport.
Is there any truth to the rumor that moving forward we'll get Desmond Howard in the Brutus headgear?
I can put that rumor to rest, because I've gone on record early in this summer saying anyone who tries to put on a mascot headgear to make a pick at the end of the show, I will deliver a form tackle that would make Chris Spielman jealous. How about that? Okay.
I think we know Sark, the way they recruit, the way they develop, the culture, and same with Ryan Day. He's checking everything. Same thing with Ryan Day. You even though you lose a lot, you know how they recruit, how they develop. So you know when those 2 uniforms get on the field together, it's going to look different than last year, because there's a lot of new pieces. But the execution, the level of performance, it's elite. And so can't wait to see Arch Manning. This is his era. He's waited. But I can't wait to see Julian Sayin. I mean, this guy was a 5-star freak that went to Alabama, and then he ended up transferring to Ohio State after Nick Saban retired. So there's just so many stories. But I can't wait to see Arch, how they've done such a good job of intentionally keeping him on the back burner the best they could. His father, his grandfather, his uncles, his mom, sent him to Texas where he didn't have to be forced into play right away. Let him develop, let him get a few reps, let Quinn be the guy, and to accept that and know that. And year 3, that'll be his time. So it's like played out exactly the way they want it. Now you go play on the road with 4 new offensive linemen against Ohio State. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Both teams really talented. What we see tomorrow is not necessarily what we will see in December. Both teams have a lot of room for growth. I think as much as I anticipate and eager to see Arch, as much as I want to see Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith, the whole game to me rides on, can Ohio State's offensive line do anything with Texas pass rush? I mean, Colin Simmons has been the one they talked about. Trey Moore was 3rd in the nation in sacks when he was at UTSA. They've got a freshman All-American transferred in from Syracuse up front. That's what I think the game changes on. And I think, in all honesty, Texas is a little more proven there. But it's not like Ohio State's, you know, running out of a bunch of guys from the Sigma Newhouse to play on the offensive line just because they're new guys. You know, they're just highly talented, really good players who haven't played as much in some cases yet. So I want to see how they hold up there. If they hold up there, everybody keeps saying, and I think Pete Thamel, Stanford Steve said, I think this game's going to be a slog. I think there's too much skill, man. I mean, look, do I think it's going to be, you know, 42-38? No, but I also don't think it's going to be 13-10 either. You know, I think there are too many guys with explosive capabilities on both sides, particularly the fellow that plays wide receiver for the Buckeyes. You know, I know they held him to 1 catch for 3 yards in the Cotton Bowl, but I'd be surprised if those are the numbers this time around. I think it's going to be a great game. And I think it's a great way to start the season. And I think it's also really important to keep playing these games. And equally important is for these games to mean something other than, well, we'll get into conference play. Yeah, no.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. We are going to be back here all day Saturday, starting very, very early before sunrise for the Buckeyes and Texas Longhorns. There's going to be a lot to cover, including that final Lee Corso broadcast, the game itself, one of the biggest of the year, most anticipated of the year. We're going to have full coverage for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com and, of course, at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Make sure you are sticking with us. Live pregame show, live postgame show, all the stuff you've come to know and expect from us. It'll all be here at BuckeyeHuddle.com and YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. Enjoy the football. We'll talk to you later on.